Good evening, keepers of the Cage. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I'm joined, as always, with my trusty sidekick, Jimmy the Don.
What is up, Gary B?
All right, we got in our other corner, Kenny Caps is our special guest host this evening.
Hey, everyone, how's it going?
Manny from Chamorro Cinema.
Station,
baby.
Station.
Yeah.
Oh, dudes, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate you being here. Let's see if we can switch this around a little. Now, I'm trying to figure out how to put all of us on this side, Manny. I don't know if you know how to do it, so we're on the opposite side.
Yeah, Robbie just showed me if you like click pictures and just start moving them around is usually like just click it and drag yourself around. Does that work?
No, because I wanted the three of us to be on the other side because Kenny had brought it up that when the conversation's up, it blocks us, but
yeah. On my TV, like when I watch this on a normal night, every one of the comments are constantly covering up like the usual suspects' faces.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I guess I'm not sure.
Huh. That's okay.
Maybe Chip knows.
I'm trying to figure it out because I know you're technical minded and the rest, and I'm not.
No.
But anyway, Manny, thank you for being on the show. And real quick, why don't you just introduce yourself to the audience tonight?
Sure. Well, my name is Manny. I'm Island Boy Manuel on Chamorro Cinema. I got a channel where I do a weekly live panel show, and every once in a while I throw some other stuff in. But honestly, Chamorro Cinema is okay. But really, the channel you guys should be watching is Team Nerd Herd Podcast. If you guys aren't watching Team Nerd Herd Podcast, they just hit 1,000 subscribers. They're having a congratulations show tonight. They are phenomenal. Them and Spine Ticks is the panel show my show wishes it could be. So you definitely want to be checking out Team Nerd Herd Podcast.
Yeah, and I got to catch your show last night in the rewind. I had a lot going on. I saw you had Sith Lordley on there. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a great dude. We just had him on not long ago. Before we get going, we'll say hello to the chat. Chip Getler, how you doing, sir? Fable, Station. Let's see. We got Jerry the Jitterbug.
What's up, Jerry?
All right, and we got
bro.
Freaky Louie in the house.
Hey, Louie, my man. I love that
Flash
guy.
by Night, Station, sir.
Station.
My fellow Alabamian.
All right, Digger Jim, how are you? How are you, sir?
Station.
Caps on Comics, we already know that guy. All right, so Manny, thank you for coming on, dude. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the name of your channel, Chamorro Cinema? Because I haven't seen a lot of cinema on your channel.
No.
So kind of curious where you came up with that.
Yeah, so back it was right after Terminator Genesis came out. So we're talking like 6 years ago or so. I was I had a channel that I just started because I really wanted to talk about that movie, and it was just Manuel Mendiola. And I did a couple of really just brief movie reviews, kind of how to fix it stuff, just using like the webcam on my laptop. And my brother started coming around and wanting to be involved. So he and I are both Chamorro, and we thought, hey, let's talk about cinema. So I thought, hey, that's really clever, and so that's what we did for, 3 years of making content regularly. We did movie reviews. We'd take action figures and act out movies to the best of our ability from memory while slightly inebriated, and see if we could recreate a film that way doing just action figures. And we had a lot of fun. We actually did the prototype of the Chamorro show back then. I had like a big desk, and we'd have 3-4 people at the desk, and we would just talk about movies. And then life happened, and people started not being able to show up, and I adopted my daughter, and time started getting away from me, so the channel just kind of went dead for 5 years about. And then we just we just started up again during the pandemic when there's no cinema. So we transferred to comics.
So I've got a question that I've wanted to ask you. I'm sorry, Gary. I've got a question I wanted to ask you ever since I started watching your channel. And how do you get your stream to look like it does right now? Like, I mean, it blows my mind how good you look on your stuff. Like how good it looks.
Oh well, it's two things. We've got one here. The lighting is key. So if you've got good lighting, you're gonna have a good image. That's just basics in photography. But my camera that I use also is a DSLR. That I shoot with, similar to Chip Gettler. So I use a Canon 6D Mark II with a 50 millimeter lens, 1.8 aperture, so it captures a lot of really crisp, clear image in low light. And so I use that. It also blurs the background and blurs my face a little bit, so you guys can't see exactly how old I am. And and then again, it's just lighting. So everything in my house, I have smart controlled lighting, so I can adjust the background and just kind of give the audience just what I want them to see.
So you don't have lights set up or anything like around you, or is it just the lighting in your room?
Oh no. So I have a lot of lights here. Let me change cameras here. I'll show you.
Oh, look at how cool he is. He's got.
I know.
So this is what it actually looks like, right? So if we look behind me,
holy smokes!
There's the camera.
Yeah.
And then I've got two soft boxes.
That's like a real studio there.
There's light. There's a backlighting to give, and then that's my hair light back there. And and then we have a green screen studio. I have boom lights set up over there for when I do movie reviews. Oh,
Jesus.
But this is what I do as my side hustle. So I'm a videographer. So I do I don't want to say boring, but that's kind of what they are, like corporate training videos. I work with school districts where teachers can talk about the classes that they offer for elective programs and things like that. So since I do that, I just am lucky enough to have a lot of gear here. So
I mean, one thing won't work for me because I mean I need my face to be clear. I mean, everybody wants to see this.
Exactly. That's what I tune in for.
Yeah. I mean, but no, like I've always, since I started watching your channel, I'm like, dude, how does he do that? That looks so good. Even on the lives, like I don't have anything in here. I've got the light over top of me and I'm just sitting here with some Logitech camera or something that I have. And I'm like, I'm just not getting that look at all.
See, and that's why I'm not HD. I'm not trying to scare women and children away. So I'm just trying to be gentle on the eyes.
Hey, we appreciate that. Thank you.
But I've actually tried that. Like me and my wife have came down here to the man cave. I've got like a lamp over here and a lamp, and we've like moved them around. And the problem with all these slabs is it's just so much glare. It's glare everywhere, and I can't get enough light, and I just look red and fat and old. And so, like, I need like a canister. Dank puts links in his descriptions of all the equipment that he uses. And it's like, ooh, lighting. Let's click on that Amazon link to see. Oh, only $3,000 for lighting. Let's just get a bunch of like LED flashlights instead.
Dank is a legit filmmaker. If you
last
go
two shorts were great.
Oh man, so good. And he has a whole website. If you stalk him deep enough on the internet, he's got a whole website where you can watch his stuff. He's really, really talented.
Like his last one was phenomenal.
Yeah. I like the reading too. The one right before that with the tarot cards and that creepy lady. Oh, that was so good.
Oh, I didn't see the tarot card one.
Oh, that one's so good. Yeah. You gotta watch that one. Yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah,
the last one I saw was Tongues.
Oh, yeah, he's just so good. He's so
Tongues
good.
was great. So let me ask you too, Manny, because I know you do haul videos and stuff like that, and it's great when you have your daughter on. But was your plan always to be a panel show?
No, it's just my plan initially was just to review movies. I wanted to be a Chris Stuckman or Jeremy Johns and just review movies. I know
both those guys are. I've watched plenty of their stuff.
So that was always my goal. And then when the pandemic hit and I came back, and there was no movies, I turned to I have all these other hobbies, comic books, toys, and things like that. The Chamorro show has been around in one shape or form for the last 6 years. So, and it was kind of like a panel show. It was just live, and now we're just doing it through StreamYard, and it's just that's kind of just become the channel. So,
right. And now you just let anybody join. I mean, Kenny and I have been on a couple times, so we know your standards are falling down.
Oh no, I am terribly mediocre at most everything. So I surround myself with very talented people, and this community has such amazing people. So
see why you haven't been on yet, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm too big of a star, apparently.
You are, Jimmy. You do intimidate me a little bit. Like I feel like 10 questions is like the pinnacle of YouTube. Of like, if you make it to 10 questions, then you've achieved. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
I feel like I'm not even like. I'm not ready yet to like be in the presence of the Don.
This shows the warm-up. 10 questions.
Well, thank you for those kind words, and you have no need to be intimidated by me because I am, I want to go back to this because I find things like this interesting. Like, so you said that you do, like your side hustle is kind of the videography, doing these corporate videos. Like, where did you find the interest in that? Like, did that start young for you? Like that kind of like photography, did it start there and then like move on up to the videography? Like, kind of how did that progress?
Yeah, I've always been into art. So whether it's drawing, whether it's sculpting, I just kind of flutter about the arts. And the videography thing actually just happened because I really wanted a DSLR camera. Like I felt like if I had one, I felt like every soccer mom that gets a Canon camera. Like if I just had the right camera, I could take really good pictures. I could be a professional. So I wanted one, and me and my wife, we never had money until, it took us a long time, just like everybody else, to be able to afford things. And once I finally got one, I knew I needed to pay for it. Like there had to be a return on investment. So I started just playing around with it, shooting videos of people and taking photos. And I actually started getting paid to do it. And then I found that I really enjoyed the editing process. I went to school for marketing and graphic design, so it was kind of right up my alley to play with the software. And I just kind of fell into this thing that I'm very passionate about and really enjoy.
That's awesome, man. Good deal. Yeah, I always kind of wondered because you really do, and I mean I know I said it already, but you really just have a great look. The way you come across is very, very professional. Like I dig the whole thing, and I just kind of wondered how people find, because I never was one to like take pictures. I have taught myself how to edit, right? Like I had no clue, and that gets a little better every time I do it, and I actually enjoy it. There's actually something with the OCD that I don't know, it just works for me.
I love it.
Some people are born with it. Some people learn it on the streets. I learned all my editing stuff on the streets.
Gangsta, man. Gangsta. Hard knocks, man.
So George had a question for you. And if he'd seen you in a commercial, we're going to highlight it here because I think he's leading up to something where he saw you, and I'm curious about this. Have I seen you on a movie or a TV show commercial before?
You have
the beans, man.
No, you have not. You haven't seen me on anything on television unless you caught local theater productions of things. When I was really young in California, I some of the plays and things that I had done were like on TV, but no, I've never been in a movie or a commercial. But I am like a sexier version of The Rock, so I totally get that.
You should have been in Jumanji, man.
Right.
Oh.
See, and here I just thought he was a goofier version of Vin Diesel. I had it all wrong.
I'll take that too.
Yeah, that won't be so bad.
No, you want The Rock. At least The Rock can act.
Yeah.
Hush your mouth. I love Vin Diesel.
Are you afraid of bad acting? Yes, I am.
Oh, yes, I am a bad actor. Was that what you asked, Kenny?
No,
I'm
that's not my question.
Oh,
So,
I'm a character actor. Right? I'm not a leading man type, so I do a lot of comedic roles, and I do a lot of improv and a little bit of stand up out here. So,
So have you ever been involved in like your local theater then?
yes, I was right before the pandemic hit. We had just closed, like literally like a week before the world shut down. We had just closed on Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, it's a great show. We've done Beauty and the Beast, The Producers. I've done
Mel Brooks, the producers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was
Nice.
an interesting one. Only because
And you did it
that was the
silent,
first time
right?
I got to be a Nazi on stage, and you know I luckily I wasn't so good that I just got typecast as the Nazi every time. But it was a it was a fun show. I love that show.
You seem too nice to play that, Manny.
Oh yeah, but see, but that's the social media thing, right? I've got to be nice because I'm putting on a good face. But if you knew me personally, you'd say he's rather okay. He's not great, but he's okay.
That's the way we all are, right?
No, I'm awesome.
All the time.
Every day, all day, 24/7, 365. No, I'm kidding.
Sometimes Jimmy's so mean, I just cry in a corner when I'm done talking to him and rock myself.
I do that with Kenny. Everyone thinks Kenny's so nice, but Kenny's constantly making me in the shower crying. I got the mascara running. It's horrible.
You're not supposed to tell people about that, man.
I know. No, he's gonna.
Right? He's got all those old weapons in his man cave.
Oh man. It said the guns don't scare me. It's the sword. Like the sword is what scares me, man. A man with a sword.
What scares me is that sword has probably tasted blood, and like it freaks my wife out. Like she doesn't have the shine per se, but like she feels things. It creeps her out.
Oh, that is such a cool art. I love that aspect about you. Yeah, like when you said that on the Chamorro show, like, yeah, I'm getting my PhD. I was like, what? And then like as I follow your channel and stuff, it's like that is so awesome, bro. That is so awesome.
Well, I have a question for you, Manny. I saw you earlier today on TM show, and you talked about growing up in California.
Yep.
And then when I sent you an AOK, it's Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So how did you go from California to Minnesota?
Well, my mom is the quintessential Minnesotan gals, blonde hair, blue eyes. She was born in Minneapolis, so my past is rife with drug addiction, poverty, things like that. So when my parents when I was about 14, my parents got to a point where we had to get out of that state, my mother and my brothers. So I actually helped them move out to Minnesota where she was from. And circumstances being what they were, I wasn't able to get back to California. But that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I met my beautiful bride, Tiffany. And now we have 2 amazing kids and this great little life that we've built here in Minnesota.
So how'd you become the island boy, Manuel?
Chamorros are actually from Guam. Well, not just from Guam, from Saipan and stuff. So I just kind of ran with the moniker. My dad was born on Guam, so I'm a first generation.
I was wondering where it came from. I was wondering what your connection was there.
Yeah, so I grew up. Like I said, my dad is the youngest of 18 children, and he was he was one of the last ones to get here from Guam. So I grew up in a very, very Guamanian environment. Aunts and uncles still spoke the language, the food, the culture was ingrained in us. So it's something that I'm really, really proud of, and something I'm really glad I'm able to kind of put forth as a moniker. So,
right, because I kind of assumed you grew up there when I saw your name.
Yeah, no,
Chamorro Cinema kind of puts you in that mindset.
Yeah, well, and Sith's actually been on the island longer than I have because he was conceived on Guam. So he's actually been there more than I have because I've never actually sat foot on the island. But
what's crazy?
No, just kidding.
Oh, the plan was actually to go when my daughter was like 5 or 6 because I wanted her to remember, because like it's an expensive trip. So I was like,
right,
I want her to remember it. So I want her to be old enough to have some memories. And then like my son was born. So now it's like, well, now we have to wait till he's 5 or 6. So now Fingers crossed I don't have any more kids so that we can actually make this trip happen before I'm 50. But
they have ways to prevent that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've caught up with the times, but I can tell you a few things that'll help you out there.
See, I'd appreciate that, Gary. I'd appreciate that.
The 60s and the 70s were very liberating.
Going to be on Kid 17.
Oh man, yeah. My grandparents had 18, and like most of my aunts and uncles have at least 6 or more. It seems like so. It's like they're prolific breeders in my family.
On both sides of my family too. My mom and dad both came from 8 siblings. So yeah, you know. And I was like, I mean, that was a different time then, though. I mean, you didn't, when back then when people were having kids, they were either helping on the farm or helping with land or all sorts of stuff. There was a different way of growing up, so it made more sense.
Yeah.
It's not like that now. Now it's just that's a lot more money.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to make this money.
Yeah. Well, and like we don't have our kids work like they did back in the. You know what I mean? Like we don't. Right. There's no income from them either. So it's like you don't need them as much. So yeah, you're exactly right. It's more of an expense, I think, for most people. And then, like my grandparents, they were born in the 1920s, so they were on Guam during a very tumultuous time in world history. So most of their family was marched up and including them marched up and down a riverbed till most of them died. So like I think part of them was, now we need to make more Chamorros, so
right.
They just had lots and lots of babies. Yeah. So
interesting. I've got a question. It's something you said a minute ago. Again, all these things I just really want to know. Did you say you did a little stand up?
Just a little bit. I do mostly crowd work. So I pump up crowds for improv troops and things like that.
I was just wondering, how terrifying is it to stand in front of a group of people and try to make them laugh?
It's horrifying.
Not only is it's terrifying. Kenny's got way more experience with this than I do. It's terrifying, but it's actually less nerve-wracking than like an interview show. Like because I'm not really like a lot of times I'm talking about like I'm asking the crowd questions and I'm just whatever they're giving me, I'm turning it around and making a joke at their expense. Like I'm personally a little bit more guarded when I'm doing that. Like this type of thing is a lot scarier to me, but Kenny has stood up and actually had to tell jokes he wrote.
Yeah.
That is very vulnerable.
I never got booed, but when you tell a joke and it doesn't land, the silence, that is so unnerving. It's like everyone is watching you with your pants down and they're like contemplating the size of your junk. It is terrifying. Like, so Manny has heard this joke before. I told this joke. It was like, when I grew up, I always loved Batman. And it wasn't because he was a superhero. It was because his parents were killed. And so, like, that's just one of those jokes that, like, nobody laughed at. And so I stopped saying it. It's like, all right, I think it's funny, but nobody else does.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
So, Manny, what was your introduction to comics?
Oh, my introduction to comics when I was a kid, I had a lot of friends that in the 90s we were all into the X-Men cartoon show and collecting the cards, and I had one friend who's I don't know if his dad owned it or if his dad just worked at this shop called R&K Comics and Cards in Sunnyvale, and we would go in there and we'd look at books, but I could never afford books. Like I never had money for them, so I'd always have to borrow them, or sometimes they somehow made it out of the store and with me on my bike. I don't know how that happened, but every once in a while something like that might happen. So my introduction to comic books was just kind of hanging out in the shop, and it was so cool to me that there were people that had this existence that was so foreign to my own. Like the X-Men, they had to suffer with persecution and they had this world that was against them, but like they had these fantastical powers and they were able to help people and save them. And like for me, being in the environment I was in, I felt helpless a lot of times. I felt alone a lot of times, and I felt weak a lot of times. It was kind of cool to have something to look at. Like there is this other world out there that I can feel it in my hands. I can see it, and maybe someday I might might be able to get out of my circumstance, so comic books were a great escape for me, them and toys. So,
Nice. So usually when you get into comics, there's like one hero you identify with that is the gateway for you. Like Jimmy, it's Superman and the small town thing. For Caps, it's Lady Death because he has this thing about high heels. For me, it's good. What was the character for you? What character did you identify with? I'll take it on Kenny aside.
The character I identified most with was Peter Parker, because he was
He's
small.
everyman.
He was nerdy, yeah, and his home life wasn't great. It wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't great. He's got his aunt raising him, and he's the money issues and things like that. Like those are things that I could feel down to my soul, right? So Spider-Man has always been somebody that I can identify with until Nick Spencer, that is, but before that.
Especially the going through those periods in your life when you're just struggling to pay the bills. That's really what connects you to Peter Parker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at least for me, it was like, holy cow, yeah, I struggle with that every day.
Dude, and it like carried on. Like when I was a kid, I used to I'd work and I'd give my parents money to help pay bills, right? Like just like Peter and Aunt May, and like. I to this day I've never really been good with money, so it's like yeah exactly like you're saying, just kind of carries on.
Right, and I don't know, I'm sure you started working young. I know I started working at 15.
Yep.
And I started paying for as much as I could on my own at that age, just like you, to help alleviate what the parents were paying.
Yeah, my first job. Well, I always tried to work. Like if somebody was offering me cash, like I was doing whatever it was, if it was helping to mow, or one time my friend AJ came home from school and I was cleaning the windows at his house, and I heard him like yelling at his mom, like, you can't pay my friend to clean our windows. That's embarrassing. But yeah, so like I always did odd jobs. And then in California at 14, you could get a work permit. And as soon as I did, I worked for the city at a day camp with kids, and then I worked as a dishwasher. So those are my first jobs.
So nice. So what led you to adoption, if you don't mind us asking, like to adopting your daughter and stuff? Because that's really interesting. I wanted to learn about that.
Yeah, no, I love that. When I got married when I was knee high to a bed bug, right? I was when me and my wife got our first apartment. We've had to struggle to find a landlord that would rent to us because I was 17. So I've been married for a really long time, and we adopted at 30. So all of those years of struggling through infertility, PCOS is a horrible thing that affects a lot of women in the world, and it's struggling with that. And so when the opportunity came to adopt, and when you're struggling with infertility issues for over a decade, a lot of people say, hey, I know somebody that is pregnant and they're probably going to want to adopt the baby out. Are you interested? And the first couple times that you hear that, you're super excited and you think that that's something that's going to happen. And then it almost never does. Well, in my case, it never did until the final time. So you just become jaded to it. And you spend a lot of time before the infertility and the reality of it hits. You spend a lot of time preparing for a family and making plans for a family and doing all these things. And then once you hit a certain threshold, it all stops, and you're not preparing. You're not planning. Your world just kind of stops, and you find a new rhythm, but it's not. You're moving at a pace that's foreign to you because you had all of these wishes and hopes, and so finally, 5 years ago, my wife and I had heard that there was a young mother who this was her third child, and she was 19, and she had some meth addiction. And that she was looking to adopt, and we said, "Yeah, no, of course we'd love to adopt." And we thought nothing of it, right? We thought, okay, well, this is just another one of those scenarios. So we went out to go test drive a car. We were going to buy a new car, and while we were test driving that car, the phone rings, and it's the grandmother of my daughter's biological grandmother, and she said, the adoption's a go, and by the way, you have 3 weeks until the baby's here. So we had to go in. Yeah, so we had to go in.
It became really real.
Oh man, and adoption, not only is it incredibly expensive, it's very, very bureaucratic. I don't know if bureaucratic's the right phrase, but like we had to get a home study done. We had to get all these lawyers. We had to get all these therapists lined up, because you have to pay for the birth mother's therapy, your counseling, like all of that is all part of it. And so that was just a whirlwind. That was a whirlwind 3 weeks, and then so that's how we ended up adopting, and it's been like the greatest blessing of my life. It got my life back into rhythm, and that baby girl saved me so much. So
kids have a way of doing that. I know Amy really saved me as far as my wife. Like, I always worked really hard, but I partied just as hard. And if it wasn't for her, I'd probably be laying in the ditch somewhere right now. But the kids are what really changed it for me, and I've told the story many times that me and my friend, we were watching Kentucky and Florida play football. We got hammered, just drunk, and I was sitting in there, and it was like I had this epiphany that if something happened to my baby right now, I could not even go to the hospital with them. They would arrest me. And I haven't really drank since, as far as like really drink. Now I will have a drink from time to time, like the other night when I was on with DJ. That was probably the most I drank in forever. But it's just funny how kids do that. It's a beautiful story, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's such a beautiful life that girl has, and just so much energy and so happy. I love that kid. And
I had to ask you about it too, because every time she comes on, it's so nice to watch you two together. When you're doing your hauls and she's going over the books and stuff with you, it's great.
What I think is kind of funny, and it's really early, like personality wise. My son is only 10 months old, but what's really funny is like my daughter, who's adopted, is into everything I am. Like we draw together, we read comic books together, we like toys, we like to collect things. My son is like into the things that I'm not. Like he loves trucks and cars and balls, and
my
like
son too.
it's just like I'm like I'm gonna have to hire like a side dad to help him with those things, because I have no idea what any of those things are.
Right.
You should have girls and have to play with Monster High dolls, and
Dude, my daughter loves Monster High.
Yeah, mine loved Monster High. Like the collector in me, when they were little and they were really into Monster Highs, like I was seeking out like these really hard to find Monster High dolls. Like it became an obsession to me, like trying to find these different dolls. It's funny.
See, my daughter and I will play, like we just play with the toys on the shelf, so I haven't had to play too many Barbies and things like that. I'd figure it out. But yeah, that's gonna be a trip, because like right now we still play Power Rangers versus Jedis versus X-Men. You know what I mean?
Right. That's awesome. Mine don't have that big of an interest. They never really have. Like they will watch the movies with me or whatever, like the MCU movies, and we've been watching Loki and things like that. But outside of that, they just don't really have an interest in any of this. So, but it's cool that she does that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's her favorite comic character then? Does she have a favorite hero?
She does. Her favorite hero is Venom. I have these pictures from, like, I don't know, she's probably like 2 or 3, and me and my brother were shooting a Venom review, so I bought like this really skin tight green screen chroma key like bodysuit, and I have this really cool Venom mask, and she's like 2 or 3, and she's just loving on this mask, man. She loves Venom. But her favorite books to read right now is Robin and Eve. She's really liking Robin and Eve. Robin, I thought, was going to get me in trouble, because I read it, and then like no spoilers for the book really, but something happens to one of the characters where this character's heart gets ripped out, and I'm like, oh man, okay, I don't know if my 4-year-old should read this, but she really digs it. So we go to the LCS later in the week, and she wanted to add to her pull list, and so she's like, yeah, I want the book where the little boy's heart gets ripped out, and the poor lady's like, okay. So she loves Robin and she loves Eve. She's really digging that. She calls it the teddy bear story. So.
Oh, I haven't started reading that yet. I got the first couple of issues, but I'm waiting to have them all to read them in one sitting.
Yeah,
it's good to hear that it's already got 2 thumbs up.
Oh yeah, she loves it.
So, are you into music at all?
I listen to a lot of music. I've never been one for like memorizing specific bands, but yeah, I love music. We listen to a lot of music. KB is a huge listen in our house. We listen to a lot of reggae bands like Common Kings, The Green, J Boog, and bands like that. Growing up, I always loved Metallica up until about Saint Anger, and then I kind of
right.
But
it took a turn at Saint Anger.
Yeah,
but they brought themselves back.
Did they?
Yeah, they brought themselves back.
Yeah, Death Magnet was awesome.
Yeah, Death Magnet's a great album. Yeah, you need to write that down. That's a good one. I like reggae music too. Like I like everything. That's my problem. Is I like everything. It's like Cap said the other night. Let me show you my sync collection. Yeah. I like everything.
Saw that? I didn't know that you saw that, Jimmy.
Yeah, and but like I dig reggae music. Like when I retire, I'm retiring to an island somewhere. That's what I always say. I'm going to retire to an island and open a comic book shop. That's what I'm going to do because I like sticking my toes in the sand. So reggae music's cool. Like I'm going to have to hit you up and let you send me some of those names of those groups. I didn't really know any of those. So
yeah, no, the great Ian Hoodrat from Team Nerd Herd podcast. He wants to do a jam one night. So I'll have to tell you when we're doing that so you can. Where he's going to play his guitar and we'll wail out some reggae hits. Yeah, it's. We listen to a lot of Christian hip hop, Christian rock bands too. But that's I think that's the bulk of it since we've been in our 30s, But before that, it was always T.I., Chameleon Air, like a lot of gangster rap. Tupac was always huge in my house, and so there's a lot of that. But nowadays it's mostly Christian rap. I mean, if I look at my last played, I got Disney's Zombies, the movie soundtrack, and Volbeat we just listened to, Tadashi, Rebel Soldiers, and let's throw out Joe Budden. Joe Budden was the other one that I just listened to. Every once in a while, I try to sneak in some language music. My daughter will get on me if I have any swearing in the music, so I have to sneak it in when she's not around, or pretend that they didn't say that. Try to find something that rhymed right away.
I have a suggestion for you. You got to get your kids, if you hadn't already seen it, Trolls War Tour.
Oh, I love that movie.
My daughter only listened to Disney music until Trolls World Tour came out, and then she's like, she wants to hear Crazy Train and Barracuda. I'm like, that's Ozzy and that's Heart. Those are great bands, and I'll play them, and she's like, it's not the same. It's like they're in a different key, and like Justin Timberlake's doing it and all this stuff. Yeah. But it at least got her into rock, and I love that movie for that. And plus, it hit right when the pandemic hit. Yeah. So that was a very special movie for the family. But me and my wife listen to completely different stuff. Like she's into hip hop and all that stuff like that. Like when I met her. Her ringtone on her phone was like apple bottom jeans, boots with liquor. And I was like, sweet Jesus, who am I falling in love with? This is not my kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. To answer Flash, dude, I like Andy Mineo's writing. He's a Christian rapper. I love him. I love everyone at 616. But Andy Mineo's voice, it needs a little bit of roughing up, dude. He sounds like an Ohio frat boy, bro. He needs a little more bite, but I love his writing. His music is good. He should pay someone else to rap him, maybe.
All right, so I got a question relating to you to cinema, so music and cinema. Let's get them both together. The first soundtrack I can really remember myself really falling in love with and listening to nonstop was the Highlander soundtrack with all the Queen music.
Yes.
Yep.
That was so awesome.
Now, being a cinema lover and being a music lover, what soundtrack did you first just really hit it out of the park for you?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna get clowned bad. But when I was in my formative years, I would get down with the Top Gun soundtrack.
Yes, I swear to God, I'm sitting there thinking Top Gun. If you say the other one, we're best friends for life.
Top Gun and Rocky, the Rocky, I had a soundtrack of all the Rocky movies. I listened to those two a lot, like an unnecessary amount.
Back then, Kenny Loggins seemed like he was on every soundtrack.
Yeah.
He was bred in a
Loggins,
lab just to
yes.
make soundtrack songs.
Right? Caddyshack and
Footloose. What happened?
Footloose, yes.
What happened to the movie soundtrack? Like, when did that go away? Like, that used to be a huge thing. You'd go see a movie, and then you would immediately want to go find the tape, to listen to the soundtrack.
Daredevil. Okay, so the last soundtracks that like were not like all of a sudden they just went to the orchestral score for like ever, and it was, I think the last one I remember where there were like good songs on it was Daredevil and the Spider-Man soundtrack.
And Guardians of the Galaxy was good.
Awesome album.
Yeah. And Guardians I love because that's like a like a character in the film, right?
Yes.
Like it's so important to the story.
Right.
Oh, so but yeah, like it seemed like after Daredevil just dropped off, all of a sudden all you had was the scores. And like my boy Rockin' Robbie, he'll get down on some like scores. He's like, yeah, dude, I put this on and I listen to that. I can't do that, bro. I need some sort of heaviness, some sort of lyrics. Like I can't. Although like Duel of the Fates from episode 1 is like that's a banger. But like otherwise I can't listen to classical too much.
Come on, Anvil of Crom.
Yes, that is that. I don't know what that is.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, Gary. You.
Kenny knows what I'm talking about.
Can you sing a little bit for us?
Yeah. But what's crazy is the Avengers did not produce an album with a soundtrack, but it did have a Soundgarden song on it. They wrote a movie for Avengers, and then when Man of Steel came out, there was a Chris Cornell song on that movie, which was interesting. Like, Man of Steel was trying to replicate what Avengers had already at that early stage. But still, Daredevil has to be like Punisher with Thomas Jane. Yep. Punisher had a decent soundtrack. Like Jerry Cantrell had a song on there. But yeah, Daredevil was probably the best soundtrack, the latest one. But as far as like regular mainstream movies, I think maybe the Titanic was like the last movie that had a soundtrack that actually sold a ton of money. So it's totally dead now.
And I thought actually the first John Wick had a killer soundtrack to it.
Yeah,
I'd have to listen to it. I'm putting it on the playlist.
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually doing my Flash by Night. American Gangster was all Jay-Z, but it was good.
Yeah, that was a good soundtrack too.
Well,
Disney soundtracks are the best. Disney soundtracks are the best. Flash, you're correct.
Since we're getting you to open up, though, we need you to air out to everyone watching and put it on the internet forever. The guilty pleasure song that Manny dances to when nobody's around.
Ooh, oh, dude, there's a lot of them. Like they're embarrassing too. Okay, so
I mean, we're not stopping you. Talk on.
Oh, dude, no. I think for the first year and a half of my daughter's life, dude, I would go through the entire Hamilton soundtrack, like just from beginning to the end, and she used to get real into it. And then about 6 months in, she would just sit in her seat at the table and just stare at me like, "Are you doing this shit again, Dad?" Like, dude, like musicals, man, Broadway musicals, dude, I get down on some of those. But like, there's a song that like I sing all the time, like when no one's here, and like I get into it, bro. Like and that's "Raise Your Glass" by Pink. Like I'll just I'll just be in the house if nobody's here and it's nice and quiet. Not only am I singing it, like I'm I'm performing it, man.
Right?
It's
You're
coming from
feeling
the
it. You're in
heart,
your feels.
the heart. Be prepared from the Lion King, man. I can't even. I don't think a week goes by that I don't sing that. And again, it's full on performance, just embarrassing. Like my daughter's never gonna have friends at the house because she'll be like, my daddy gonna break out some Disney again.
That's not my dad.
No, I'm adopted. I promise, I'm adopted. You know? But oh man,
that's pretty good.
Man. A lot of them.
Gary B, I want to know what yours is.
Oh, geez. Well, my guilty pleasure music genre of choice is Romanian pop. I absolutely love Romanian pop.
Who okay, are there any? Who's a band that you can name?
Ceausescu Gymnastics, Ceausescu
Nina Romania
Gymnastics.
and Alexandra Stan are both really good. And the G Girls, where both of them were in it with two other women. I can listen to those two women sing all day long. I don't care what it is. I will jam in it. I will pull up when everyone else is playing their music, trying to look tough, and I'm like, sun is up, move your body.
Nice, dude.
Right?
I can vibe with it.
And then I can look over like, what? Listen to what I want. It's my car.
Mine is 100%. Otis Redding, Love Man from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. You know when they carry the watermelons up to the place or whatever, and they start playing Love Man. I play that song at least twice a week. I love it. So I dance. It's embarrassing.
Oh, Ashes from Deadpool was like one of my guilty pleasure songs, and now Kyrie has co-opted it. Man, we were driving home the other day. She's like, "Can we sing that again?" It was like 3 times in a row, so she might break me of that song. But oh, dude, she's like the wind. Oh, Dirty Dancing has such a great soundtrack, man.
Yes,
such a great soundtrack.
Phenomenal.
Oh. Dude, and I need that later '80s music too, like or early '90s too, like Bananarama or Roxette, New Shoes, Animotion. I'm a sucker for all that garbage.
Jeez, I swear. Where's Slot right now? I make fun of you. Slot sent me this thing one day, and it was just a picture, and it said "Cowboys from Hell." And I know Caps knows who that is. And Gary B had to make some crack about, that's how they are in Kentucky, right? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And anyway, I was like, dude, that's Pantera. Do you not know who Pantera is? He was like, yeah, but I dig. And he started listing off these bands, and I was like, oh my God, who is this guy?
He doesn't know Peter Gabriel? Peter Gabriel is amazing.
I know who he is.
His world music is incredible.
Jeez.
That's the definition of a guilty pleasure song. It's something that you listen to when you know it's not that cool, but damn it makes your feet move.
Oh, dude. No, I love 80s music. Rock steady rocking on. That song used to be all the time when I was a kid. I love 80s music, but like the Romanian pop is interesting to me because like I like rock bands from like Eastern, or I consider it Eastern Europe, but I don't know my way around Europe because I'm an American. I don't need to know that stuff. But because I like Nightwish a lot. I like Volbeat from over there somewhere. Like I don't know. I dig that stuff, dude. So Romanian pop, huh? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Right? Yeah, I have it on my playlist. It's in there with Prince. It's in there with Marilyn Manson. It's
okay. All right, that is eclectic for sure.
I'm all over the place. I like a lot of stuff. Because I'll go right for Romanian pop to a great Marilyn Manson song and just be rocking out with that, and then I'll go into the Wonder Woman theme. And
that's awesome. Whatever. Gary B sent me that one, not the link to that Wonder Woman theme that girl
Tina
played.
Dow. Have you watched?
Oh my God!
Have you watched her play that, Manny?
No.
Oh, you need to go right now and watch it.
Is this amazing world-renowned cellist, and she is incredible. She's this tiny little thing, and she plays she plays the cello like a beast.
Dude.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, so if you see it posted in group chats all over the place, that's Gary B's fault. I'm gonna be watching and posting.
I'm gonna send you the 2 Romanian artists I listen to on Instagram, and then I'll send you the Tina Gal link so you can. And she's cool. She has an album out that's just her doing covers of video game themes.
Yeah.
Dude,
she's actually okay at Wonder Woman's theme. I think I play a better Wonder Woman theme. I actually brought my child's dog guitar into the whole video. So, I mean,
dude, that was epic. That really was. Oh.
Kenny's not as easy in the eyes as Tina Gal is.
No, I will admit, Gary is definitely right about that.
But no, we've been getting to know Manny pretty good. I gotta think,
dude.
Now,
go ahead.
You have your panel show. What else do you want your channel to become besides what's your goal for growing it? Where are you headed now?
Oh, dude. Well, my main focus is not really to grow Chamorro Cinema so much. I mean, I'd love growth. I'd love to get to 1K and do all the YouTubey things. My main goal is to build community and to look at like the PCP Army Bad Batch, to see all my homies like grow, and especially in this comic book space that they are so passionate about, man. To see TM like he just said in there, he's having Tony Fleece come on the Chamorro show at the, next month. To be able to talk to those creators and just build this up. I mean, there's so many people that we have an opportunity on that channel to bring together. We have 10 spots. 10 different YouTubers who might only ever interact in comments if they're not, having these conversations screen to screen. You know what I mean? So that's just my main goal with Chamorro Cinema, just to see channels and see individuals that I love, that bring so much joy and content into my life, and see them grow. That's far more important to me.
Accomplishing that, all of us together, is because we've all kind of grouped ourselves together and been helping each other out and promoting each other. So, and one of the guys that's great in our community, the Rogue Trader, had a he's doing his part. He had his video out today, and I mean, and how gracious is it of him to offer up what he's offering for growth?
I know it. Spider-Man 300. Right. I mean. Oh my goodness! It's in this grow together thing that you've started, Gary, is so amazing. It really is so amazing.
That took on a life of its own, though, Manny. I never envisioned this happening with it. So I mean, there's only so much credit I can get for that. That grew on its own. It was an idea that seeded and grew.
See, but if you lit the match that started an entire forest on fire, the cops would hold you 100% accountable. Exactly. and you lit the spark, bro. So,
and that's all it takes. So any great movement, Gary, starts from a spark, and that's you, man. And honestly, I know you've said this 100 times. No. But yes, I owe all of my growth to you. Like, I would be at 17 subscribers if it wasn't for Gary, honestly.
I think all our channels have grown because of Gary.
Kenny. People would have found you regardless.
No, Kenny, you're worth it. Anyone that's seen any of your videos, man, you're infectious, bro.
Yeah, you
are a YTD. You're a YouTube transmitted disease, bro. Once we get you, we're stuck with you, and so it's a lifetime.
We get you some antibiotics.
I got all I need out of this interview now. Kenny got compared to a disease. I'm good.
Yeah, we're good now.
I'm trying to work that into all my content.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that off my bucket list. Finally compared to a disease.
Yeah,
and you're infectious.
Yeah.
Kenny's the new COVID. You heard it here first.
Yeah, COVID Kenny. Which, by the way, I've been looking forward to, on my show, having a special guest. It's going to be COVID hair Kenny, and so be on the lookout for that.
Nice. I get the Chamorro. Like I can't do anything with my hair. Like it's got to be shaved. Otherwise, it's just a ping pong ball. It's just like the straightest Asian hair you could have. Just boom. Just it's crazy. It's crazy.
My hair's always been like this. It has always been like this. It's never grown at all. I just always get it cut.
He came out of the womb like that. He was boss baby.
There's product in his hair.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
What, Boss Baby? No, there are photos out there of my head on Boss Baby's body. Slot picture of it. Yeah.
Thank you to Jason. Slide it off.
Yeah. Look, there are so many memes that have been made. Gary B has made so many memes about me that they terrorize me. We talk about this all the time, but like they terrorize me.
Cyberbullying.
Yeah, they cyberbully me, but it's fine. I give it back pretty good too. So, but no, that's part of the fun. But I love what you're saying, Manny, as far as the community. I think that alone will cause you to grow, because just that giving nature that you have, you're very modest, like, because you're awesome, dude. Like your channel's legit. You're legit. I mean, like the whole thing, you're great, man. And I said, and then, just that giving and the way that you feel about the community, I think is what makes your channel special.
Oh, dude, this community is and like no bullshit. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but it's
that's not the worst thing that's been said.
I'm a person that suffers from bouts of depression and serious social anxiety. So, like JF Person, he's been on my show 3 or 4 times. We have done month-long intensive shows together with each other in the trenches, and we never spoke until he came onto my show. Like that's how shy I am outside of YouTube. So like the number of friends I have is that isn't my wife, is outside of this in real life is so small. So YouTube is my, you guys, you are my friends, and anyone that when you have friends, how important they, especially if you haven't had them for years, how important they are. So like, I love this community. It's made me happy. It's made me, it's brought me out of a lot of this, I don't know, the social anxiety disorder that I have. And it's, I can't say thank you enough to Fable, to Stefan, to these guys that brought me in to their group chat. The first guys to bring me in, TM, and yeah, man, it means the world to me, this community.
But you've definitely paid that forward. I mean, I had a little fanboy moment when you messaged me on Instagram and invited me on your show. After I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to be in Chamorro Cinema."
Yeah, right.
I was like, "Wow, I can't believe Manny asked me on a show." I was like, "Wow."
No, dude.
But you're a professional production. I'm just some old guy in front of a camera going, "Look what I got today."
No, dude, no, not at all. Like you don't even know how excited I was that you were agreed to be on the show, man. When Caps agreed to be on the show, like I tell Tiff right away. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Even just like today, the fact that I was going to be on Gary B's channel, I was going to be talking with Smalltown, that I didn't know Kenny was going to be here until just now. And I love talking to Kenny. He's okay. But knowing I was going to be on with the usual suspects, like you could ask her, she's like, "Quit worrying. You're going to be like," I was a wreck. Cause I fanboy out a lot, So I'm just so grateful you guys had me on, because
we gotta highlight that one thing you said though. We got to make that a T-shirt. Kenny, he's okay.
Yeah.
My wife already has those shirts. Just get her up or hurry.
Okay.
Oh no,
that's fantastic. Like you can hang with us anytime, and I will teach you the ways of giving Gary B a hard time.
I need that.
And as Kenny, as Jimmy's agent, we can get you on 10 questions for a small fee. It's not a problem.
Oh, dude, I might be able to dig out some stimmy money, and we might be able to make that happen. I'm able to make that happen.
Wait, I can charge?
Oh, dude. Oh, Brandon from Comics Kings. He was talking to a comic book writer, and I won't say a name, but he was like finalizing an interview. And the dude's like, "Okay, so for 30 minutes, my rate is $400.
What?
It was like, what?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, so.
And
yeah.
you know that guy waited to the last second to put that in there too.
Oh yeah. I couldn't even. I mean, I get it. You know, you get charged at a con, you know, for photos and for signatures and stuff. Like, I totally get it. But it was just like $400 for 30 minutes. Goodness gracious,
And
crazy.
the guys you hang out with on your channel, man, they're all so talented. Like I was just highlighting Fable. Like the music that guy does is amazing.
Yep.
And not only music, he's so talented he can draw too.
Oh
yeah, Fable can draw. It's crazy.
And Brandon
3 times.
Brandon is a bloodhound for like great creators. He's had some amazing people on his show, and I don't know how he hasn't hit 1,000 subscribers yet. Like Brandon honestly blows my mind. I don't know how he gets all the people on his show that he does. It really is amazing.
He's spending a lot of money. That's no. He is. I don't know how he gets them, but he does. He gets amazing. And like he's like, oh yeah, I knew him back in the IGTV days. It's like, when does he doing IGTV? Like if he knew them back then, like who else does he know? I gotta find those videos, man.
So somewhere there's a contract that he signed in blood that the devil's holding tightly.
At the crossroads in Mississippi. Yeah.
Oh.
Great.
Oh no, he's gonna hate me for that one.
You end up on Crisis on Infinite Rants, man, and that's awesome if you can make it there.
So I have one last question that I really wanted to ask, and that is, what's your favorite book that you're reading right now? Like, what are you just 100% into?
Oh,
and it could be comic book, it could be book, it could be anything.
Sure. No, the book that I'm reading right now that I stop everything to read, like read it in the parking lot of the LCS read, is Swamp Thing by Ron V. Nice. Right now, that's my favorite story right now. Radiant Black is also becoming a like I need to read this now book. And of course, I read Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, but the last couple issues they've had like 3. Well, Power Rangers has been solid the whole time, but Mighty Morphin has had 3 really good pages and then like 17 okay pages. But yeah, Ron V, the Swamp Thing, just the idea of like Levi coming into his own, having to like grapple with the expectations that his father had for him, the expectations that pale man in the desert. I call him the Avatar of Rot, but I don't think that's what he actually was. But the expectations he had of like being his equal, the expectations the Green have, and then like culminating in him finding who he is as the Swamp Thing. Like I love the way Ron B writes, and I don't know, I can't get enough of Swamp Thing. So
cool.
I haven't read him before, but I've been getting Layla Starr that I believe he writes, and I'm going to read that when I got all the issues. But I've heard nothing but great stuff about Layla Starr as well.
Layla Starr.
Compass.
Compass?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Compass. I heard Campfire, Cosmic Campfire. Ryan was talking about it the other day. He dropped a comment on my video, said that it was really good. I was just wondering if anybody read it.
No, I haven't picked it up, but I wrote it down, so it'll be on my list. The Savage Shores, man. If you, Gary B, if you want to read, it's here somewhere. I'll find it and send you a copy. But the Savage Shores is amazing by Ron B. It takes place in India, and it's got vampires. It's got like
I never heard of it.
Indian mythology, like. Kind of like their version of a werewolf, I guess I would call it. Like, it's a really, really great read.
Werewolves are my favorite actual horror creature.
Yeah. So definitely. I think I've got your address. I'll send you a copy, man. That's a great read.
Oh, thank you, 62 Lefties. So we've been running about an hour and 5 minutes. We'll ask you our last questions. We'll let you promote what you want to promote and do your shout outs to who you want to shout out. But Kenny, Jimmy just asked his last. Did you have a last question for him?
Yeah, sure. If you can have anyone on your show, not necessarily a YouTuber, but a creative in the comic book community or in cinema, who would you have on your show?
Ooh.
Alive. not dead.
All right, if they can't be a zombie, shoot. No, I'm gonna go best of both worlds. I would want Kevin Smith on my show. Somebody who I can talk
great
comics and film
answer.
with.
Good answer. Yeah.
So,
All right, and my last question for you is going to go back to cinema. What is, in the history of Manny, your most watched film that you've had on repeat the most?
ooh.
That you can always go to it.
Well, what have I watched the most, or what can I go the most back to? Because I've gone through phases where I've been really artsy, and I'm like, oh, I'm really. But the film that gets the most watch and play is, well, I guess it's easy because my daughter watches it all the time too. Growing up as a kid, I watched Labyrinth with David Bowie on repeat, and then my daughter watches it now on repeat. So when she was 2, we went to Arizona on the plane, and she was able to sing along with every song and talk along with the characters. And that was the moment that I realized that hopefully if I do this right, I will never have to worry about boys when she's a teenager. So right then and there.
And you can never go wrong with Bowie.
No, not at all. He
Bowie's
owned that.
amazing.
He owned that.
I can listen to Bowie anytime.
Oh, so good.
Nice. So we'll give you these last couple minutes here if you want to shout out anyone that you just want to talk about or get any messages out about your channel, please go ahead and then we'll say our goodbyes to everyone and get it going.
Yeah. So guys, yeah, like I said, I'm Chamorro Cinema. I have a Wednesday night show, and it's pretty good. I enjoy it. I got a lot of really great people that you really want to get to know on that show. But more importantly, guys, check out Nick Comic Culture. Nick Comic Culture has got great content in terms of teaching new people coming into the hobby how to collect, which I think is really important because when we all start, sometimes we just get in there and we just start buying stuff and we don't know what we're buying, or we're chasing keys because we saw it on some app somewhere and that's what we got to go for. Nick gives us the goods. He tells us how to do it. Check out Nick Comic Culture, you guys. His content is so good. No all the things that I do in my videos.
Yeah,
he's
me
got
too.
none of that. He's focused. He's crystal clear and concise. I love that man. Sub him up. And then when you're done, go check out TM Nerdy, because TM Nerdy is the heart and soul of this community, man. He's everywhere. He's in every chat. He is like the guy on MySpace, that Tom, that friend that everyone got the first time. That's TM. You do your first video, TM is the first person in the comments. And not only is he the heart and soul of that community, he also has great content, whether he's unpacking cards, whether he's opening Spawn figures, whether he's interviewing members of the community or comic book creators. He does everything in a way that's refreshing and not forced and genuine. This is a man who loves collecting, loves nerd culture, and loves you guys. Check out TM Nerdy. And then after him, why don't you go check out our boy Big Herminio and Big Herm's Collectibles. He's been a lifelong Marvel fan, and he's going to take you on some deep dives through some Marvel books. So go check him out. And he's got Sam from Sam's Tangled Web on there, TM Nerdy, and a whole bunch of other people. Fargate is on there when they go through collected editions, not just floppies, not just the flash in the pan stuff that people are like, this is what's hot now, this is a cool cover. He's taking you into trades and letting you know when trades are coming out, when omnis are coming out, so that you can get the stories, getting you into the stories. So check out Spider Sonic, Big Herminio. And then if you need something for your soul, head over to Fable. Head over to One Collection Down and listen to some dope beats with some visuals that are a little hackneyed by me, but the music is good for your soul. Check out Fable. And because I'm on the spot, I'm gonna forget other people, but there's so many great people in this community. And then check out Cosmic Campfire, who was shouted out earlier. Ryan loves stories like Prince loved women, man. This guy loves storytelling, getting those telling you why the story matters. That man made me rethink Ultra Mega 2 because I said, and all I said was I liked it, but I didn't like it as well as the first one. And he was able to school me and teach me why that story was better than I thought. And on a second read, you know what? He was right.
Ultra Mega is great.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. And then on top of all that, check out Rockin' Robbie at Pop Culture Philosophers. He's the man that brought me into the fold. He's the man that brought the PCP Army Bad Batch together. He's making great pop culture content. Check out my man, Rockin' Robbie Bills over at Pop Culture Philosophers.
And Rogue Trader.
Eric, man. Oh my goodness, man. I've said this before. I am going to actually fill out a time off request. If I wasn't a boss, I would fill out a time off request just so I could say I need to take the afternoon off to be on his open mic on Thursday, because that man is so knowledgeable, and it's so much fun. I have it on while I'm working. I love
giving.
That guy. Oh,
so
man.
giving to the community.
Oh, dude, I won Lamer Frame one week, and I got some free books pressed, and I sent them off to him, and he not only pressed my books for free and sent them back to me for free, he included additional books. Like the guy is just amazing. I love that man. Love that man.
Nice. So we're gonna start our goodbyes at the top with Jimmy. We'll go to Kenny, myself, and then you get to lead us out because you're the guest, and it's all about you.
Awesome.
So, Jimmy.
You just got jimmied, or you just got manied. It works for Manny too. You just got jimmied.
Nice.
Penny Caps, you're okay. What do you want to say?
All right. All right. Well, be sure to check out my Friday Fun. That's every Friday at 8 a.m. where you get the chance to name that song. All right. And then Saturday, I'm always posting new content. I'll be in the live chat waiting to talk to you. This Saturday, I have a video where I'll be discussing how I created a guitar out of a snow shovel. All right. And that's naturally on Capstone Comics. And I'll see you in the next video.
Guys, as always, I want to thank our guests for being on. This is one of the guests I was super excited about. I've been wanting just to talk to Manny, learn a little bit more about him. He gave us some great insights into his life, which was very nice of him. And just wow. And as I always say, guys, keep it casual. Manny, take us out, sir.
Dude, if you guys like this video, if you like the content that Gary B and all of these amazing panelists over here are putting out, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment on their videos, and share this with your friends. Let them know where they can get nerdtastic news with a casual island view. Thanks for watching. Peace.
All right, and now our awkward ending. Hitting this button and going.